Hi, I'm Pete Nurse, the convener of Joomla Day Melbourne 2013. And today we're introducing MaxLynam from Molehill Webworks. G'day, Max.
Hey Pete, how you going?
We are in just the most sensational location here, overlooking the great Dandenong Ranges in Melbourne. And we're here to talk to Max about his life and Joomla and everything. You got here in a strange way to building websites. Tell us a bit about the other stuff you did before you got involved in that.
Well, when I was a kid growing up, my dad was involved in computers and working with the Department of Defence and the Air Force and so forth. And my grandfather was also an electronics enthusiast and used to make synthesizers and stuff like that. So really the involvement in sort of electronics and computers was in the blood. And I remember when I was in grade 5 or grade 6, which would have been 28 years ago or so, 28 years ago, my dad brought home his first PC, and I remember being in grade 6 and sitting down and programming the computer to draw a circle, and then went on to program little games into the computer and things like that, and just kept on doing it for years and years and years, and sort of let it go for a while when I was a teenager because I was more interested in other things, and then after I turned 20 or so, started getting back into it, and it was about when I was, would have been 22, 23 years old or so forth, would have been, would have been 20, when I was 22, was when the internet first hit Australia, and as soon as that happened, my computer geek family all over Australia started mucking around on the web, and I think I was up at Army Base up in Queensland when I first reverse engineered my first website using Netscape.
So what I do know about you is that you spent quite a bit of time as a farmer in agriculture. Tell us about that. How did you end up there?
The short story is I joined the army to go over and stop people getting chopped up in Rwanda. And unfortunately, I knew about computers. And that being the case and not many people knowing about computers and so forth back then, I got stuck in an office in Victoria Barracks on St Kilda Road. And that's not what I joined the army to do, because all I was doing was mucking around on computers all the time. And so I had moved back from Queensland with a couple of large dogs, couldn't find anywhere to rent, and there was a farm for sale. And I thought, don't know anything about farming, but it was flowers, growing a flower farm, so I thought, I'll retire from the army with my 2 dogs and go and tiptoe through the tulips on the farm, and ended up on a farm and spent about 15 years out on the farm growing flowers and building up that business, and not knowing anything about it. And part of what we did when we were there was start trading both retail and export-import with flowers all around Australia, retail, wholesale, exporting to Dubai, doing all of that stuff. And the reason we got all of those markets was because we'd started up a whole heap of e-commerce stores, and we're selling in direct competition really with Interflora and other import exporters overseas and so forth. And and got my computer fix even though I was still out on the farm doing the flowers as well.
So at that time you were using Mambo, Joomla.
I suppose on the e-commerce side of things, we were using Mambo and Joomla and Zencart, and sort of marrying those together. And I was also building websites for associations and so forth, and other people. not so much as a job, but as something I enjoyed doing. And we were using either Mambo or Joomla 1. I think back in those days, I think I'd actually decided on the Joomla fork and over the Mambo one, and we used that as the base CMS for all of our content management and presentation of information, and then we'd have Zencart hooked up to the back end of that to help us do all of the online sales and so forth. I did would have been probably, I think Joomla 1.1 or 1.2 would have been the first community site we built with online forums and membership and stuff like that. So that was quite a while ago when we started off on that side of things, and then as things progressed along a little bit further, Joomla sort of stagnated, so we went away from Joomla for a couple of years, and when it was sort of the 1.5 not moving very far for a while, and when we were doing the community sites and so forth, we sort of moved away a little bit from Joomla for a little period of time, and had a bit of a go with WordPress for a little while. And our e-commerce solutions moved along from Zencart, and that was when Magento first started coming out as a contender for e-commerce, and we're very heavily into Magento for quite a few years, and had WordPress hanging off the back of it for our information dissemination and so forth, because really for a proper e-commerce success, you can't just have a store, you have to have the information, the education, and that relentless SEO appeal going out, and so we were using WordPress for it at that time. And then a couple of years ago, when Joomla 1.6 came out, and we had to seriously assess whether we'd use WordPress anymore, and it just couldn't fulfil the needs that we needed it to. So we've been Joomla junkies ever since, and now couldn't see ourselves using WordPress really for anything that's business related. Sure, it's great for hobbies, and that's sort of about my sort of point of view on most of it, but really Joomla now is a true business solution.
As the convener of the conference, what really interests me about your background is the strong business experience you've had.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of the Joomla community, they don't have that. And so I think that'll be a great aspect of your contribution to the conference. So tell us, Max, what does Molehill WebWorks do now?
Basically, we do beyond the website. Everything we do is still related around online solutions, but it's basically an online solution for success. We've been in business ourselves, and we know that having a website by itself is not actually going to succeed. Sure, you might get a couple of websites out in the world that they release it and all of a sudden everyone jumps on, but for everyone else in the world, you have to do a lot to be able to succeed online. And because we've been run businesses ourselves, and we've been in highly competitive markets for e-commerce and so forth, and not having hundreds of millions of dollars worth of marketing budgets like our competitors had, there's a lot of work that you have to do, and it's always been conveyed as being a bit of a secret to people and out of reach of most people, but it's really just a heap of logical steps so that what you're doing and the way you interact with your customers and prospects and the way you nurture the relationships with your clients, if you're doing all of that properly and running it through an online system properly, and you've got all of those back-end systems to automate it all for you and to really churn a business so that it succeeds online, and you're doing that well, that's exactly what Google and the search engines want to see happening, because their search algorithms are based on delivering customers, or the people using the search engines. It's based on them being able to use Google as the way for them to get what they want. And so if you're delivering what those people want and what your prospective customers and clients want, and you're doing a really good job of it, then that's what Google is programmed to pick up on and make sure that they reward you and drive more people to your site. And so we've put all of our business experience and IT experience and online experience in putting together a big package of solutions and products that all talk to each other, so that a business owner can actually succeed online without spending the hundreds of millions of dollars that the big guys just throw at it. It's, putting it within reach of, the normal Australian business owner.
Put simply, it seems to me that what you're doing is setting up performance measurements for the work you're doing on the website, the promotion you're doing on the website, measuring that and feeding it back in.
Every business owner has products. To be able to sell the products or their ideas successfully, they have to set up a strong plan and a strong campaign to be able to succeed with that. What we do is we build a strong plan and set of goals which we measure on an ongoing basis. We use squeeze pages, we use social interaction measurements, we use analytics in every single part of the website, whether it be email campaigns, social media, the size of buttons on pages. We can track the movement of the people's mice across the page. We can interact with them if they stay too long on the page through the chat channels, and convert those leads and those people on the websites to people who will actually spend the money. The ones who actually spend the money, we want to keep doing that, and we want to keep making that better. We want to capture people before they leave the website. So if people go onto a page, we want to see what's wrong with it, why they're not converting to a customer on that, and engage with them and pull them back into the chain and nurture them over a period of time, so that you can go from the $5 sale to the $50 sale to a repeat customer that will go out and actually convey to all of their friends that they should also be dealing with you. And it just takes that ongoing measurement again and again and again, and iteration again and again, until you've got the highest conversion rate you can possibly get for your product. The website I'm most proud of would be theatticguys.com.au, and it's a site we did for a friend of mine, and it is a really basic site based on Joomla, and all it does is create leads for them, and they do roof systems or attic systems and building for storage, and it's amazingly simple, doesn't have much to it, but it's really straight to the point. They've been able to raise their price point about 3 or 4 times since the site's gone up. Their levels of profit have about tripled on what they were previously. They've had to put on extra staff, and they had to stop their AdWords campaign because they were getting too many leads. And for me, right, it mightn't be a fancy looking site, but as far as results go, it's amazing. I think open source is great because it's the people behind it and the community behind it and the whole culture of sharing and helping each other to achieve a better outcome for the greater good really leads to a better solution for all in a much faster time frame than could ever be imagined in a closed source application or product. The fact that the bonds and friendship in the open source community are so strong, and that it's been able to progress the software development and the outcomes from that so quickly over recent years, has led to governments and multinational corporations to embrace open source software because it is just a better solution for the requirements of businesses and what they're trying to do.
We've just been speaking with MaxLynam from Molehill WebWorks, and Max is going to be speaking and presenting a workshop at Joomla Day Melbourne 2013. Thank you very much, Max.
No problems, Pete.
And we'll get back to enjoying the view.